Our first look inside a courtroom to see Colorado's red flag gun control law in action. Our state has been covered in this life-saving drug that is now starting to expire. Coronavirus concerns are growing, so let's look at what a precautionary quarantine would look like. A dirty trick in the South Carolina primary traces back to Colorado. A school district cancels school because teachers say they're not going to show. And a request to make sure that a veteran from Colorado does not go to his rest alone. That's next. Tonight we get our first look inside the process of taking a Coloradan's guns away using the red flag gun law. Our camera was there in the courtroom. The gun owner was not. Other judges were there because they too just want to see this process in action. Our Steve Steger was at the Adams County Courthouse covering some other cases. Steve, you see this handwritten notice that Westminster police are coming to court on short notice to ask for the seizure of someone's guns.
Yeah, and so we were able to file a motion to allow our camera inside that court, which the judge granted. Now, he did seal the information involved in this case, which is pretty typical with a search warrant. However, it gives us our first look inside of a judge giving an order for police to take away someone's weapons. Inside courtroom 506, the only sign something's happening is a handwritten note on the day's docket. Inside that 3:30 hearing, a courtroom packed with court staff, including a couple of judges. They're here to see a first-of-its-kind case in Adams County, as Westminster police ask a judge to let them temporarily seize someone's firearm.
The petition adequately alleges a recent and credible threat of violence by the respondent against others, more than one person, and certainly it is a very violent act.
Judge Edward Moss allowed our camera to roll, saying this was a public hearing. He ordered we not videotape the detectives from Westminster Police. The 3 detectives were the only petitioners. There was no attorney on that side, and no one sitting at the defense table.
The firearm has been seen in the respondent's possession. The firearm has been used in a threatening manner with other persons.
The detectives presented an affidavit with the allegations and a search warrant, specifically naming the type of gun and the current location of it. Enough for the judge to give them permission to take that weapon away.
The burden of proof in this case is by preponderance of the evidence, and the court does find that the required findings have been proven by preponderance of the evidence.
So this case has been sealed, but from what we've been able to cobble together, this has to do with charges related to retaliation against a prosecutor. The judge set a hearing in this case for March 11th, which is when police have the opportunity to argue for an extended emergency risk protection order, one that could last as long as a year. We expect the respondent will be given the opportunity in court to make their voice heard in this case then. Kyle.
And Steve, this is happening case by case, courtroom by courtroom, judge by judge, and then sheriff's department by sheriff's department when they go to enforce these rules. So that's why there's so much curiosity about how individuals within the justice system are choosing to handle red flag.
Sure, and credit the judge in this case, because I think he understands that there's curiosity, which is why he said, hey, you've got a camera, go ahead and let it roll to let the public see how this process works. But yeah, as you looked around that courtroom, it was filling up with people from inside this building, even other judges who just wanted to see how this all is handled, Kyle.
Steve Steger and Adams County Force. Thank you, Steve. Colorado's death penalty is almost done at this point. Even with the outcome inevitable, the debate at the Capitol has been shaped by the fact that 2 state legislators are the parents of murder victims. Representative Tom Sullivan, a Democrat from Aurora, voted against the repeal of the death penalty. He ran for office after his son Alex was killed in the Aurora theater shooting. 2 other Democrats, Kyle Mullica and Brianna Titone, also voted against repeal. Still passed the House today. Democratic Governor Jared Polis is going to sign the death penalty repeal, and then he will consider clemency requests when they come in from the 3 men on death row. Colorado's battle against opioid addiction is too difficult to have people hesitating to help out of fear that they'll get in legal trouble. This is a real concern for doctors and paramedics and now the state legislature. Arnusha Roy explains.
Usually Dr. Josh Bloom stays away from the business of writing new laws.
By and large, I'm
here taking care of patients and letting them do their job.
But when lawmakers asked what they should focus on when it comes to the opioid crisis, he made sure to email in.
I would guarantee that expired Narcan has been used in the past and will be used again.
Narcan is a brand of naloxone, championed as an effective way to reverse an overdose. It's been given out for free in Colorado. Doctors are telling patients to pick it up along with their opioid prescriptions. Officers, paramedics, firefighters carry it too, but replacing it can be expensive.
You are in a law enforcement setting and you know you're carrying an expired Narcan and you use that Narcan to try to reverse someone, and unfortunately that person does not wake up, does not recover from that. I suppose there could be a concern of liability for that.
That concern reached Democratic Representative Chris Kennedy.
I want to just protect against that possibility in the future, because we are putting a lot of naloxone out into the world right now.
He wants to tweak the Good Samaritan law that allows a person to help in an emergency without worrying about getting in trouble, to make sure it covers people using expired naloxone.
I think it was just unclear if there were expired naloxone and what a person would do.
Multiple addiction experts today pointed to 2 studies that if naloxone isn't stored properly or is way past its expiration date, it might not be in peak condition, but could still help save a life.
Have a new kit, have an unexpired kit. But if the only thing you can grab is an expired kit, that's the only thing around, and that's what's standing between this patient or this person dying of an overdose or being rescued, use the expired kit.
So if someone does use naloxone on a person who is not overdosing, Dr. Bloom said that it doesn't actually hurt them, but it can help in another way. And that's when paramedics arrive. And if you say, hey, I used Narcan on someone else, nothing happened, then the paramedics know to start treating for something else. And then if the naloxone did take effect, then paramedics know exactly what they're dealing with and can start that treatment as well. So it helps them with diagnosing in certain situations in the field as well.
Everything in the legislature always comes down to a price tag. Sometimes there are competing priorities amongst different areas, or even within just the general area of how to fight opioid addiction.
Yeah, the same. There are 5 bills right now, and they're competing for $15 million. And Representative Kennedy said we're already in a position where we're probably not going to get everything that we want. And so funding for naloxone is going to be down the road for them.
All right. Thank you, Nisha. They think that they have been secret siblings all their lives. More than a dozen people who now believe that a single fertility doctor in Grand Junction is actually their father. All of them are likely pleased that the state legislature is moving quickly to make future cases of so-called fertility fraud a crime. Our 9 Wants to Know team first told you about Dr. Paul Brennan Jones last year. He gave up his medical license not long after we ran our story. Several people say that the doctor used his own sperm to impregnate their mothers at his practice in the 70s and 80s. Today, the state Senate's Judiciary Committee voted to crack down on fertility fraud. It's a win for the woman who first came forward months ago with suspicions about her father.
Going through all this makes you realize that we have a lot of support, and other people feel that this is wrong, you shouldn't be doing this.
The bill goes to the full Senate. It has yet to see a single vote against it. This does not impact Dr. Jones or the lawsuit against him, just applies to future cases. So you cannot buy one of those surgical face masks, one of those medical face masks, if you tried right now. They're selling out in stores, selling out online. It's the clearest proof yet that Americans are getting worried about coronavirus. Let's focus on the facts of this. CDC says it is a fact that coronavirus will hit the U.S. Their very specific advice today, the CDC, that guys shave their beards so that you can get a good seal with a face mask. That appeared to cause a combination of concern and laughter. If the virus gets traction in Colorado, we could begin to see quarantines. We asked health experts what that means.
Most of it would probably involve limiting big public gatherings. So if a Fish concert was happening, perhaps that would be asked to be canceled. So a lot of it is what we call social distancing, where you just don't have hundreds of people or thousands of people en masse in close proximity to each other.
And here's the deal. I get that this stuff is scary, but you got to remember, you ward off the coronavirus the same way you do a cold or flu. It's the stuff that we should be doing this time of year anyway. Wash your hands, disinfect surfaces, have people cover their coughs. I know this is easy to say in a workplace where you cannot lose your job just for taking a sick day, but don't go to work if you're sick, and make sure your coworkers know that you want them to stay home if they're sick. A former Colorado legislator has done the previously impossible. He got former President Barack Obama to chime in on the Democratic presidential primary. Republican Ted Harvey represented Highlands Ranch in the state legislature through 2014. Nowadays, he leads a pro-Trump PAC, which is running a super misleading ad in South Carolina, an ad that former President Obama demands be taken down.
Joe Biden promised to help our community. It was a lie. Here's President Obama.
Plantation politics. Black people in the worst job.
That voice is former President Obama reading someone else's quote in his audiobook. In this political ad, it misleadingly suggests that Obama's criticizing former Vice President Joe Biden for taking advantage of African Americans. Obama's asking TV stations in South Carolina to take the ad off the air. Colorado's Ted Harvey is the man responsible for the ad. He told me on the phone, "Oh, that's too bad. It's not misleading." Harvey's Committee to Defend the President, President Trump, was created while he was a state senator in 2013. It was originally called the Stop Hillary Political Action Committee. So you have seen President Obama in several candidate ads on our air. As we explained in answer to your next question, those campaigns are just looking to leverage the president's popularity. Former President Obama has not made an endorsement. Teachers in Colorado are planning to leave class again to make a point at the state capitol that they deserve more pay and more respect. And that is why Jefferson County Public Schools is preemptively closing school nearly a month in advance. District will be closed on March 29th. That's what the teachers are calling a day of action when they plan to march on the state capitol. We've seen similar rallies in the past, including in the spring of 2018. Jeffco Public Schools says even with all of this notice, it does not have enough backup teachers available to replace all of the full-time teachers who have told the schools they're going to march instead of teach that day. So, this is night 2 of 9 News' terrible idea to let you text your feedback to NEXT to the number 303-871-1491. I told you that the texts go to my phone directly, which sounded like fun, until we mentioned it last night, and 619 of you texted me. I have responded to a few hundred of you. I will get to everyone eventually. And quit texting me at 2 a.m. I'm not your ex. I'm not going to come over. Before Blucifer at the airport, before the lizard people living underground there, before the escalators broke again and again, there was this man, Mike Carlson. I think you should meet an airport original. Another veteran is being laid to rest and is in need of fellow Coloradans to step up and be there.
Beautiful day. The sky so blue, the sun so bright and warm, and temperatures reflecting that. 41 today. The average is 49, and we will see temperatures in the 50s by the end of the week. Right now, DIA at 32 with a wind chill of 25, but the big story is the winds. It really let up. And as our storm system continues to track off to the east, we're going to monitor it. It is going to really impact travel from Memphis, St. Louis up to Chicago. On the backside, winds out of the northwest, bringing in just enough moisture for a few light snow showers over Craig, Meeker, Rabbit Ears Pass and Vail Pass, but advisories for wind confined outside our forecast area into southern Wyoming. High clouds tonight, otherwise calm and quiet for eastern Colorado. A bit of light snow for those tracking across the Vail Pass and down toward the Grand Junction area, but not enough accumulation that we have advisories for travel. So a calmer night and not as cold. Our low at 22. This morning, the low at DIA was 10, so that's trending in the right direction, as is tomorrow's high at 48. We get you into Friday with mid-50s, 60s Saturday, a warm Sunday. Another storm and another chance for snow coming in late Sunday into Monday. For the first few days of the new month, yeah, this has been the pattern, but this storm does not look overly significant, cold, or strong, but it is out there, that chance for snow. We'll be watching it closely, but the snow can be so very beautiful. A great shot tonight coming in from Crested View, Kyle.
Thank you, Kathy. Hey, I want to clear this up. I misspoke earlier when we talked about Jeffco schools preemptively closing for the Teachers March on the Capitol. It is March 19th that Jeffco schools will be closed, March 19th. Thanks to everybody who texted to tell me that I misspoke. If you're free this Friday and you don't mind a beautiful drive up to Wyoming, there is a veteran who was born in Colorado and could use some Coloradans to be there for his last goodbye. Corporal Ray Barella fought for our country in World War II. He was born down in Las, Colorado in the San Luis Valley. He eventually moved to Wyoming. He was a farmer and a rancher there. He died at 101 years old earlier this month. The funeral home in Casper has not been able to find a single family member, and that's the reason why they've reached out to see if anybody else might be willing to come to his burial on Friday. Service will be Friday morning at 10 at the Oregon Trails Veterans Cemetery in Evansville, Wyoming. We put all that information in this article on 9news.com. Next, we'll be there on Friday and hope that you can make it too. Mike Carlson is one of those Coloradans who goes way back, like 30 less minutes to the airport back.
I couldn't even start to tell you how many goods and bads there have been.
He's one of a handful of employees who worked at our old airport and our kind of new one. "25 years ago this week, some Coloradans started work at a new facility. They used to go to work at Stapleton, then they had to adjust to DIA. And there are still workers out there at the airport. There are OGs from Stapleton.
I've just always loved airplanes. Aviation has always been front of my mind. Mike Carlson, Assistant Director, Airside Operations. My primary bread and butter out here at the airport is everything inside the fence. So as far as runways and taxiways, make sure that they are safe and that people get in as efficient and safely as possible. I worked at Stapleton, got my aviation management degree, and was lucky enough to get a job with the City and County of Denver in the ground transportation department. So 2 weeks prior to Den opening, moved out here and promoted to Assistant Airport Operations Manager. It's something that I am very proud of, to have been part of the opening of this airport. I couldn't even start to tell you how many goods and bads there have been. Absolutely more goods than bads. I would say probably the most challenging thing I have been faced with in the past year was the bomb cyclone that we had last March. It's not the amount of snow that we move out here that's a challenge, it's the visibility. That's when we run into trouble. It has been an honor to work out here for 25 years, 28 with the city. If it wasn't something that I enjoyed, I wouldn't have stuck around for 28 years. I was born and raised in Colorado, and I want to continue to be part of Colorado history, and I'm doing that by working here at the airport every day.
Love that. So I thought that our new text feedback program was literally good for nothing. And then one of you texted me the most Colorado thing we saw today. I will share that along with more of our textual tension next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is our state's clash of seasons in one outfit. Patsy texted me this photo of her granddaughter Leela waiting for a swim lesson, still trying to shake the Colorado cold from outside by wearing her winter coat by the pool. I love this. If you see something that just screams Colorado, you can email to next@9news.com, get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext, or please do text us at 303-871-1491. Pete, where to text? Is that a real number? Pete, you texted it to the number. I'll reply, yes, it's a real number. Is this the real Kyle Clark, they text? How would I know? Oh, you'll know when I text you back, trust me. And then this, Kyle, my wife's wondering if you're wearing blush tonight. Thanks for adding the text option. No blush, I'm just agitated from responding to hundreds of your text messages.